Hi again, friends. Doug Karsch at Yost Ice Arena, and this is Inside Michigan Hockey. The Wolverines wrapped up the regular season with a disappointing performance on Friday night, dropping a 4-3 decision to last place Bowling Green. Michigan bounced back on Saturday and got a 3-0 victory over the Falcons. The Wolverines will enter CCHA tournament play in 2 weeks as the number 2 seed in the league. And we're joined right now by the head coach of the Wolverines, Red Berenson. And before we put a capper on the regular season last weekend, I imagine Friday night was pretty disappointing for you.
Well, it was, Doug. We had the lead in going in the third period, and I thought we were playing pretty well. And I don't know if we'd given up a lead all year in the third, but definitely we gave up a soft goal, and then all of a sudden a turnover, and we lost the game late in the last 5 minutes. So very disappointing, you know. And then on the flip side, we had some chances we didn't capitalize, but your chances don't always go in. You just can't give up 4 goals against and expect to win.
I know you well enough, and we've talked the last few weeks about how your team was winning but not always playing well. Sometimes does it take a loss for the message to get through with things like turnovers in your own zone?
Well, it was pretty obvious that we were not up to our game, and sometimes you play down to an opponent, but sometimes the opponent's better than their record, and I think a little bit of both. We talked about how difficult it would be playing a last-place team and how important it would be for us to play our A game. And I thought we had parts of our A game, but we had too much of a C-D game. And as I mentioned, defensively, we broke down.
Saturday night, how do you feel about the way the team responded?
Well, we played better, but let's face it was a 0-0 game. And we had our chances. They had their chances. I thought we gave them too much. Hunwick was a factor in the game, obviously, our goalie. And then finally we scored on a kind of a weak goal against their goalie, who had a great weekend. So we might have been lucky to win that game as well. With
all the chances you had, I know you'd like to see you bury them, but also over the years I've learned you'd almost rather win a game 3-0 than you would 8-2.
Oh, no question. And, you know, I think at this time of year is we've got to be in good defensive habits, good playoff habits. And I thought the game Saturday was a playoff type atmosphere, especially in the third period when the game's on the line, 0-0. Every play is so important. And I thought we picked up our pace and picked up our game.
As it turned out, Ferris got the point they needed. They clinched the regular season championship. So it didn't hurt you in terms of a league crown, which makes it probably a tolerable lesson for you going into the postseason.
Well, you know, when you look at the whole season, you have to say that we did pretty well considering the slump or the stretch we went through in November. And to end up in second place, that means out of 11 teams, only 1 team finished ahead of Michigan. And they had to earn it too in the last weekend, and it was a team that we beat both times we played them. So overall that was pretty good. You know, we ended up in number 1 goals for, number 2 goals against. So we're right there with the best teams in our league, and now we have to prove it in the playoffs.
Well, speaking of the playoffs with this format, you get a bye this first week. How do you feel about that?
Well, you know, if it's a reward for playing well, then we want the reward. And I can't tell you the bye always works, but most of the time it favors the bye team. So that means we'll play a team that wins a series this coming weekend, and we won't play this weekend. And obviously we'll focus on next weekend and try and be as ready as we can.
So the Wolverines have the week off on the ice. Off the ice, it's spring break on the campus of the University of Michigan. And while they'll be in town, the players practicing, preparing for further play in the playoffs, we did ask them if they could go on spring break, where would they go?
I'd go to Italy or Croatia, actually. It's supposed to be the 2 best vacation spots for either spring break or summer. And I've never been to Italy, and my parents my family is kind of from Italy. And we have a key to one of the towns there called Gesualdo, I think, something like that. So I'd want to go visit there, and then anywhere by a beach would be nice.
Probably like Mexico or Hawaii. I heard Hawaii is really cool. My parents have been there. It just sounds like a good time.
We actually talked about, me and my roommates actually, we're going to go out to Sanibel Island after the season was done. So my uncle lives down there. He has a really nice place off the beach. So probably go there for a couple of days and just for the night, obviously, and have a good time down there.
Probably say Mexico. It's warm. A little warmer than Michigan, so that's what I'd choose.
Number 1 would definitely be somewhere warm and something hot. Get some sun. Getting pretty pale this time of year. You know, some guys like to go for the tanning beds, but I'm not gonna sacrifice that and do that. So I'd probably say Tahiti. Never been there. Don't know exactly where it is. Somewhere in the Pacific, I think. But sounds cool. Sounds tropical.
My mom is Italian, and my grandfather is one of 16 kids, and his grandparents are from Italy, I believe. And so my grandfather took all of his brothers and sisters and my parents to Italy and went to the town and ended up meeting their great grandfather or something, and they gave him a key to the city. So we have a key to the city in just Waldo, Italy. I think it's in the mountains or something like that.
So, Coach, did you know that about Chris Brown?
I thought he was from Texas. But no, I didn't know. And but it's interesting. My grandparents were from Norway, but I'm surprised his are from out of the country.
Let's talk about spring break. Obviously, the kids probably have a lot of free time on their hands. You keep them focused on hockey, or do you give them a bit of a break?
Well, a little bit of both. We had Sunday and Monday off, Doug, and we skated today, Tuesday, and then Wednesday we'll skate twice. Thursday will be a day off. Friday and Saturday we'll have short workouts, and then Sunday's off. Monday is playoff week, so it'll go by quick. But in the meantime, they don't have class. They do have some projects they're finishing up for school, but for the most part, it's kind of a downtime and then get ready for the big push.
How important is a CCHA tournament title? Is it something you like to raise the banner, or is it more about getting a top seed in the NCAA tournament?
Well, for us, it's our conference, and it's getting that banner up at Joe Louis. And if you do that, you're going to be in the tournament. And we've had to earn that a couple of years ago, remember? And we had to beat the number one team to get there. But it's bragging rights, and it's important.
I always ask you about the pairwise. You're still in position to be a number one seed. When does that matter to you? When do you start caring?
Well, it matters when the tournament starts, and really that'll be out of our hands. The only thing we can do is win all our games. And if we win all our games and that puts us in a top seed, then that's good. We've earned it. And if not, then we don't. Simple as that. So it doesn't matter how much I read it or how much we try and strategize. Winning your games is the most important thing you can do.
Coach, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Doug.
And that's going to do it for this week's edition of Inside Michigan Hockey. No games this weekend, but be back next week on MGoBlue.com as we'll preview the CCHA quarterfinals. Doug Karsch from Yost Ice Arena saying so long.